Kwa majina naitwa Kiberenge na leo ningependa kuongelea kuhusu hili swala la budget. Proposed budget for financial year 2025-2026 and the proposed finance bill for 2025-2026. Looking through the budget, you will see that the proposed budget, the total proposed budget is 4.3 trillion Kenya shillings. That is the budget as proposed by the Treasury. Now, the problem is, why are we preparing a budget of 4.3 trillion when our total revenue is only 4.3 trillion? Where do we plan to source the deficit of 2 trillion? Where do we plan to get that deficit from? Because it is very unreasonable. It is very unreasonable to inflate a budget, prepare a budget of 4.3 trillion when our total revenue is only 2.3 trillion. It means that the 2 trillion deficit will be sourced by high taxes and by borrowing. Already, we are in a debt crisis. So we intend to borrow 2 trillion more in financial year 2025-2026. And we intend to tax Kenyans more than they have been taxed, so that we can raise more revenue in order to finance that budget. This is very unreasonable. It does not make any sense. And Ruto has always said, President Ruto has always said that we should live within our means. I don't think preparing a budget of a deficit of 2 trillion is living within our means. That is living beyond our means. Because if our deficit is 100%, then we are abnormally living beyond our means. We must prepare a budget, and I want to tell the CS for Treasury, Honorable John Bad, he must prepare a budget that resonates with our needs, a budget that resonates with the resources we have. We must live within our means. The deficit, if there is any deficit, it must be very little. Hakuna haja ya kutengeneza budget kubwa of an overambitious budget, and if you look through that budget, it is only budgeted corruption. Budgeted corruption. Because if you see through that budget, you will find that State House and state lodges have been allocated more billions for renovations. How is State House and state lodges renovated every year? What happens in those State House and state lodges that they have to be renovated every year? In this current budget, they have been allocated billions for renovations of State House and state lodges across Kenya. Why are we renovating State House and state lodges every year? And in that budget, we have also allocated more money to the Deputy President's office for renovation, refurbishment, and whatever. Why are we refurbishing the Deputy President's office or residence every year, every financial year? And in that same budget, Parliament has allocated, MPs have allocated themselves 7 billion more. In a country where USAID has withdrawn support for key health services, and there is no money to fill that gap that has been left by USAID. Parliament is allocating itself 7 billion more More money is being allocated to State House lodges, and more money is being allocated to the deputy president. Yet we need money to fill the gap that has been left by USAID, because our children are going to miss vaccinations. HIV/AIDS patients are going to miss ARVs because of the gap left by USAID. Instead of directing funds to fill that gap, because we need over 30 billion to fill that gap left by USAID. Instead of filling that gap, we are allocating money to non-issues, non-priorities. Why do MPs need 7 billion more? What is the justification for MPs giving themselves 7 billion more? CS Mbadi must act above board. He must be different from the other CSS we have known in the world. CS Mbadi must put the interest of Kenyans ahead of any other interest. State House and state lodges must not be allocated any more money, not even a single cent, for innovations. MPs must not give themselves any more money. More funds must be allocated to USAID, the gap that has been left by USAID. And in the same budget, you will get security being allocated billions of money more than the essential services like agriculture and health. Why are we allocating security? If you look at the total allocation in security cumulatively, you will get the allocation is above 300 billion. Why are we allocating to security alone 300 billion, and the health sector or agriculture we allocate only 46 billion? Are we eating security, or are we preparing for war? Why can't we allocate more money to agriculture so that because it is said agriculture should be the backbone of Kenya? Why must we not allocate more money to agriculture to spur our economy and create jobs, instead of allocating more money to security? And these monies that are being allocated to security, you will find that it is budgeted corruption. Most of it will end in private pockets. If you read through the entire budget of 4.3 trillion, you will find very unreasonable allocations that are not justified. That budget, CS Mbadi, the budget must be trimmed. It must be reasonable. It must be rationalized. As accountants, we always say we must rationalize the budget. It must be reasonable, practical, and attainable. Unlike this bloated budget, which most of it is budgeted corruption. It would have made more sense if the budget is too high and we have allocated more money to education, to health, to agriculture. But the budget is 4.3 trillion, a whooping 4.3 trillion. But we are not allocating any more money to health or to agriculture or to education. We are allocating money to issues that are non-priorities, issues that are not urgent. So I want to say that as Kenyans, we are going to interrogate this budget, and we are going to put CS Mbadi to task to explain why we need a budget of 4.3 trillion and to make justifications for this budget. We are going to make a follow-up on it.
I have a question, in regards to the budget right now. Could we say that the current inclusivity of Raila Amolo Odinga in the said Kenya Kwanza administration is the reason why the said budget has to be bloated so that it can fit the needs of accommodating Raila Amolo Odinga and his allies in the said government?
It is very wrong and very immoral and very unjustified if the budget, we are preparing a bloated budget just to accommodate what we call a broad-based government. That is very unreasonable. It is an injustice to poor Kenyans who are suffering in this country to prepare a bloated budget to accommodate a broad-based government which is unconstitutional, because the structure of a government is in our constitution. Anything beside that is unconstitutional. So, if in case the budget is being prepared to accommodate a broad-based government, then that one is totally unacceptable. Kenyans, we are not going to support it, and we want to say we need a linear government. We need a small government. We even don't need a prime minister. It is not urgent. There are more pressing issues in this country. We don't need a deputy prime minister. We don't need those extra positions because they are not urgent. We are more pressing issues that need resources.
My next question is in regards to the issue of prime minister. We are being told that currently the office is in preparation for Musalia Mudavadi's exit to become the cabinet secretary of foreign affairs, and Raila Amolo Odinga to take up the role as the cabinet secretary, as the prime cabinet secretary of the prime minister. And apart from that, there is another suggestion or a bill that is going to be tabled in the floor of the House to have the government of Kenya build a residence for the prime minister. I mean, a home for the prime minister. The way we have the state house for the president and the current residence for the people. Now we will be having a home for the prime minister. What is your take in regards to that?
My take in regard to the formation of the position of prime minister, building a residence for prime minister, and all that, my take is that it is not urgent. It is not a priority for now. There are more pressing issues that this government must address for now, because I don't think we need extra positions right now. If Ruto truly believes Raila is a very good man, Raila should get a chance to lead this country in a certain position. If Ruto believes that way, then he must exit the presidency in 2027 and support Raila. They must agree that way. Ruto should support Raila for the presidency instead of creating a position of prime minister for Raila Odinga. Ruto must exit the presidency and support Raila in 2027, because we are more pressing issues. Already, our wage bill is too huge. Most of our budget goes to wage bill, recurrent expenditure. So if we create more positions, we are going to expand the wage bill more and more. And that one will mean the resources for development will be very little, but resources for wage bill will continue increasing up to 80%. And then we remain with maybe 20% for development in this country. How can we have 80% of our budget going to recurrent expenditure and only 20% going to development? And even this 20% ends up in people's pockets. Yet, we want to create more positions to expand the wage bill more. So we are totally opposed to the formation of the office of the prime minister, two deputy prime ministers. We are totally opposed to that. What we want is delivery of services, more money in health, more money in agriculture, more money in manufacturing, more money in education. That is what we want for now. Ruto should support Raila for presidency in 2027 if he truly loves him.
My next question is in regards to the current politics that you're seeing. The likes of Didi Nyoro being attacked and being dragged in. And also, there is a certain a narrative that is currently being told that the fight between Didi Nyoro and William Ruto and Akina Kimani Ichung'wah is a staged fight for Didi Nyoro to come and seek the presidential seat in the Mount Kenya region come the year 2027 to divide the Mount Kenya region. What is your take on this?
First of all, let me say, Ndindi Nyoro has been so quiet. In fact, during the impeachment of Gachagua, Ndindi Nyoro appeared to be sitting on the fence all through. And then all of a sudden, he has just been removed from the position of the chairman of the Budget and Appropriation Committee. And yesterday, we saw Ndindi Nyoro pulling down the portraits of the head of state. You know, he was using on his profile, on his social media platforms, he was using the president's photo on his profile. So he pulled them down yesterday, meaning that either their relationship has come to an end, or it could be what we are being told, that it is a game plan. It is a game plan so that Ndindi Nyoro can earn the sympathy of Mount Kenya, so that he can come for the presidency, act as a decoy president for president, act as a decoy presidential candidate for President Ruto in 2027, in order to divide the mountain vote. So there's a lot that is happening behind the scenes, more than the eye can see. But on the issue of the Kiharu constituency, CDF, and how Ndindi Nyoro has developed schools in Kiharu, installed tiles in schools and so on, and also school feeding program in Kiharu. I've seen MPs accusing Ndindi Nyoro of allocating himself more money in Kiharu. But what I'd like to say is that is not true. Those people who are accusing Ndindi Nyoro of allocating himself more funds in Kiharu are those who are incompetent, who are inept, and are those who have failed in their constituencies. So they are looking for excuses, they are looking for scapegoats, they want to pass blame so that they can hoodwink their constituencies, that Ndindi Nyoro made them not to perform in their constituencies. Because we have seen the portal, the CTF portal. We have seen what each constituency was allocated. And we have seen that, for example, Kiharu and Suna East received the same allocation on the portal. So I think that was just propaganda. It was not true. It was misinformation by the likes of Junet Mohammed, because they have failed in their own constituencies. So they are looking for blame, to pass blame. They are looking for scapegoats. But what I'd like to say, I can't rule it out. There could be a game plan between Ndindi Nyoro and William Ruto concerning 2027. Maybe Ndindi Nyoro could be used to divide the Mount Kenya vote so that Ruto can get a second term. We don't know. But it might also be propaganda being propagated by state agents in order to make Ndindi Nyoro an enemy of the people of Mount Kenya. Either way, I don't think whatever this government, Dr. Ruto, will try to do will salvage himself. It is done, and I think Kenyans have already made a decision.
Apart from that, I would like to hear your comments in regards to today's ruling by the High Court of Kenya upholding the impeachment of one Meru governor.
What I would like to say is that the High Court, by upholding the impeachment of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza, the High Court has done what we call justice. Because you remember in the previous impeachment, Kawira Mwangaza was impeached the first time, but she was protected by by state agents for political reasons. But when the state agents dropped her and let her to carry across, she was finally impeached. I think going through the impeachment process, all Kenyans can agree that Kawira Mwangaza violated the constitution. She abused her office as governor, and everybody was convinced that she did not qualify to serve as a governor. Even the first time she was impeached, it was clear that she did not qualify to be a governor. She had violated the constitution and she had abused her office. So I think by the High Court upholding her impeachment, the High Court has only made a decision, a worthy decision that was made by the court, and which there can be no new evidence, or there can be nothing new to overturn the decision of the Senate in impeaching her.
Now, the impeachment of Kawira Mwangaza, do you think it plays any role in shaping the Mount Kenya East politics in regards to William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua's influence around the Mount Kenya East bloc?
I don't think the impeachment of Kawira Mwangaza plays any role in the political arithmetic of Mount Kenya East or Mount Kenya region at large. I don't think her absence or her presence has any effect in the politics of Mount Kenya East. I don't think her exit has got any impact or consequences. And I don't think even her presence, if she was still a governor, it did not have any significance or any effect. So for Kawira Mwangaza, she has no effect. Totally, she has no effect in Mount Kenya East politics. Totally no effect.
Now, to wrap it up, I would like to hear your opinion in regards to Justin Muturi, the Cabinet Secretary of Public Service, recently saying that there is no way that she is going to step out of his office, though we have all seen how the state has been pushing for the house of Justin Muturi as the Cabinet Secretary.
I had the CS Justin Muturi saying he will not resign from government, and he said resigning from government would mean that abduction and extrajudicial killing is a policy of the Kenya Kwanza government. And I totally want to agree him. A CS cannot resign for opposing or criticizing something that is unconstitutional and illegal, something that is not a policy of the government. If abduction and extrajudicial killing were a policy of the Kenya Kwanza government, and a CS is going against that policy, then that one would mean that CS should resign for opposing a policy of his own government. But killing and abduction is not a policy of this government, and it cannot be a policy of any government in the world. It is illegal, it is a crime, it is unconstitutional. So, personally, I don't think CS Muturi should resign. I don't think he should resign. I think he should remain inside and talk these issues from inside and pressure this government to try and address the matter of abduction and extrajudicial killing at the cabinet level. He can only do it when he's inside government, not by resigning, because that is not a policy of the government. Thank you.